And this is a guy that prior to me, because of previous traumas, didn't like to plan too far in the future. Then got genuinely upset at the idea of having to live a few years after me dying of old age because he couldn't bear the thought of life without me. How we can go from that man to a man that has completely cut me out of his life, does not care if I live or die. Literally, let's break it down. Because he has decided to cut me out of his life completely, to have no knowledge of what is going on with me anymore. And then I was like, but I don't think I've done anything that bad to him to warrant being cut out of his life.
She doesn't understand why her partner left and never looked back. She acknowledged that she did things, but in her opinion, he shouldn't leave for those reasons.
Okay, don't.
I wasn't pushing her.
Don't knee her.
I did not knee her.
I'll push you off the boat.
I didn't knee her,
Do you
boy.
want to get drowned? Because I can swim.
I didn't need the dog. I did not.
You did.
Ellie.
Tell her you're sorry.
Ellie. She won't even talk to me.
Yeah, because you need her.
I didn't.
She would have been in the water 2.3 seconds into this video. Take the dog and leave the mouthy girl at home. Get on your knees and marry this girl right now. Awesome mama bear instincts. She will protect your family. Clearly can see he is pushing the dog with the back of his leg, then puts his foot down. The dog stumbles a bit. Wouldn't surprise me if he stepped on the dog's toe. Yes, I would yell at him too. Lesson here, guys, is leave your woman at home. And she would be swimming talking to me like that. This is why you don't take your girlfriend fishing. This video shows the reality of many. And based on this short scene, we can imagine what goes on behind closed doors. As we can see, that was the way she was talking to him about what he did to the dog. So can you imagine how she would react when they have a real issue? Sometimes we want to ignore things just to keep the peace in the relationship, but it's not always the best solution, as some matters must be addressed to avoid further drama. She just displayed the characteristics of a partner who has no issue inviting chaos to their union. It got to the point where she was still insisting on pushing him out of the boat, even when he was willing to apologize for what he did. He was trying to de-escalate the situation, but she was still talking about pushing him, which was unnecessary. They probably have this dynamic because at some point he made her feel like she was running the show in their household, and from that moment she took that position. But what they don't know is that normally this type of dynamic doesn't work in the long run, and it will get to a point where one of them will get out of that train, and he is more likely to be the first. Most of us will do our best to keep the family together, but we have to agree that everyone has their own limits.
I woke up this morning genuinely wondering how a man that genuinely got upset over the fact that I would die earlier than him because I'm 10 years older than him. And this is a guy that prior to me, because of previous traumas, didn't like to plan too far in the future. Then got genuinely upset at the idea of having to live a few years after me dying of old age because he couldn't bear the thought of life without me. How we can go from that man to a man that has completely cut me out of his life, does not care if I live or die. Literally, let's break it down. Something could happen to me at any point. Touch wood, it doesn't, but it could, and he would be none the wiser because he has decided to cut me out of his life completely, to have no knowledge of what is going on with me anymore. And I was trying to comprehend that, and I couldn't comprehend it. And then I was like, but I don't think I've done anything that bad to him to warrant being cut out of his life.
I guess he had another opinion. Guys hardly make this move for no reason, and this is what she should have considered. Maybe self-reflection would help a bit.
I did give so much of myself to him and to our relationship and to his career and our career. I very much lost me in this past year. So it does feel nice, and it does feel exciting for the things that I've planned and to see my friends and spend time with my family. But also, I'd like to do that with him by my side still.
This makes me so sad. I remember these feelings, thoughts, and actions so well. You are thinking of the person you were with at the beginning, not the man who has cut you off. Whoever he was, he's gone. Maybe he has fallen out of love. It sadly happens. I'm going to be so harsh because I'm going through this at 48 with my husband. It's probably because he's found someone else and he's moved on. You seem to be in the bargaining stage, trying to find other reasons for his absence other than basic rejection. He's gone for now, may feel safer than he's gone for good. If you like our video, don't forget to subscribe to our channel as it will motivate us to keep working daily for our community. One thing we need to clarify is that a man doesn't leave the person he is dating or in a relationship with for no reason, and usually it's an accumulation of things. This is what she should consider. No guy would leave the woman he almost swore he couldn't live without for nothing. He had a good reason for it, and this is what she should acknowledge before starting making assumptions. It would have helped a lot, and maybe she would have found the answers she was looking for.
Because he couldn't bear the thought of life without me. How we can go from that man to a man that has completely cut me out of his life.
In some situations, that level of certainty is what makes people take things for granted, and this is how they end up losing it. Maybe she thought no matter what she did, he would always stick around due to his love for her, but his reaction proved her wrong.
And then I was like, but I don't think I've done anything that bad to him to warrant being cut out of his life.
He is the only person who can answer whether what she did was enough to get him to leave or not, and based on his reaction, it seems like it was. Since she believed that he was deeply in love, maybe she expected him to accept a lot. However, his reaction says otherwise. He got to his limits and was gone for good. As she said, he didn't even try to check on her to know how she was doing. This is just another indication that something must have happened because guys don't vanish for no reason. And if he cut all ties, it means that it was serious. I have decided to add this clip to this video to show you guys what happens when your child doesn't grow up in a healthy household. What happens to them when they have had a bad experience growing up, and when they don't know what it means to be loved by his mother and father. Based on what he said in the video, we can have a clear picture of how he was raised. Now let's listen to this young man so you understand what I am talking about.
If I was a woman, I wouldn't want to have a child either. Why would I want to have a child? I don't need to have a child. I don't need to have a man. I don't need to pretend that I'm in love. I don't need to pretend that I want to be a mother. I don't need to stay at home and play giggle with a little child who's just another slave in the system. I don't have to do any of this shit. Why should I do that? Why should I waste my resources doing this when there's other games that are much more fun that are available for me to play? Why? And don't tell me I will find fulfillment, because my mother didn't find fulfillment. My grandmother didn't find fulfillment, and that's why I'm the byproduct of their lack of fulfillment. So
the first segment of this video gives us a clear idea of who raised him and what environment he was exposed to. This is the reason you guys need to stay in your child's life. You have to. He took his mother and grandmother's view about life, and now it has become part of him.
I'm talking as a woman, right? I'm the byproduct of my mom, my grandmother, and all these lineages of women that came before me, and I'm the byproduct of their discontent. And then you tell me I should do the same thing as they did. Well, quite clearly it didn't work out. So why I should do this? What's the point? How's that going to fulfill me? And the only reason I did that before, or a couple of generations ago, is because the zoo required me, through its ordained religious priests and its science of the time, which was religion, that imposes us to do that and gave us, this is what you are as a woman, you're supposed to give birth. And you as a man are supposed to go work in the field like a donkey. This was ordered by the zookeepers in order for us to create more slaves so that we can build the zoo and make the zoo structure increase and grow and grow and grow.
His perspective on family shifted completely, and it got to the point where he placed the word zoo and family in the same sentence. This is just sad. His case is a good example of why therapy is important. Usually people take it for granted, but sometimes it's needed.
So I didn't really want to have a child. I was obliged to have a child. It was what I did because there's nothing else to do. And that was what was told to me to do, even though it may match my biology. I didn't necessarily want to have a child. What for? What's in it for me?
I never thought I'd ever hear a man say this. He actually gets it. Thank God, finally someone who gets it. What's in it for me? Exactly. I can only speak for myself, but I love motherhood and being a mother. I love hearing this come out of a man's mouth, to be honest. Children are a blessing from God, and if you don't understand the beauty of motherhood, then you have a problem. I am a very proud mother, and my 2 kids are my soul.
If I was a woman, I wouldn't want to have a child either. Why would I want to have a child? I don't need to have a child. I don't need to have a man. I don't need to pretend that I'm in love. I don't need to pretend that I want to be a mother.
Why would a woman need to pretend that she wants to be a mother? He is talking as if every woman wouldn't want to have children, and this is not true. This is deep and really sad. He is talking based on what he has seen, based on the experiences of those around him. I honestly feel sorry for this young man. He needed love growing up. Guys, once again, stay close to your children and give them a good experience.
And don't tell me I will find fulfillment, because my mother didn't find fulfillment. My grandmother didn't find fulfillment, and that's why I'm the byproduct of their lack of fulfillment. So I'm talking as a woman, right?
This is something he didn't have to tell us, as we already knew. Before, he said it was clear that he was talking as a woman who didn't have the best experience when it comes to having a family. And the sad part is that she passed that energy to her son. This is another reason parents should keep their children away from adults' issues, as it will give them the opportunity to see the world based on their own experience. It will be better for them.
I'm the byproduct of my mom, my grandmother, and all these lineages of women that came before me, and I'm the byproduct of their discontent.
This clip makes me really sad. You can see the type of life he lived. Based on this statement alone, it's clear that he saw or heard things a child shouldn't hear or be exposed to. He openly said that he was the byproduct of their discontent. Can you imagine what a child had to go through to grow up and still make those statements? This is just sad. I can't stress it enough, guys. Do your best to stay close to your child and make sure they are loved.
I was obliged to have a child. It was what I did because there's nothing else to do. I didn't necessarily want to have a child. What for? What's in it for me?
Did you notice that he speaks as if he was listening through the hairpiece? It sounds like someone is telling him what to say, but we all know what's happening. He is more likely to be repeating what he was told growing up. Those aren't his statements. He heard them from those close to him, and it shaped his personality. Now he has become this man who doesn't see any point in having a family. But the young man would have a different perspective if he had a better upbringing. The other sad part of this clip was the comment section, which was full of women who supported his video, not realizing that he was talking based on the bad experience he had growing up. They don't know he wouldn't have this mindset if he had a healthy household.